And tonight, Cincinnati city leaders addressing that viral downtown beatdown, gaining national attention and drawing widespread criticism. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30. I'm Chris Jacobs. My co-anchor Ashley Kirkland joining us live, leading the way with our team coverage tonight. And Ashley, this all comes just about a week after that incident downtown.
Hi, Chris. That's right. And this is also the first time that we're publicly hearing an address from the mayor since this incident happened, and he was backed by members of city council, the police chief, as well as community activists here. The mayor starting the press conference saying that the violence that we saw downtown was inexcusable and tragic. He says that the focus is and has always been making Cincinnati a safer city. Now, Mayor Aftab Pureval also addressed this violent brawl that happened downtown during a number of events that were happening that weekend. Of course, this has gained national attention and notoriety from people outside of Cincinnati, and the mayor saying that the racial dynamics of the fight are, quote, unavoidable. Now, we did have a team of reporters there inside that press room, and we want to get over to Danielle Dindak, who was there and had a few questions for city leaders as well. Hi, Danielle.
Yeah, hi there, Ashley. You know, I was just like yourself. I think we were hoping to walk into that meeting today and try to get some more clarity into what potentially led up to that attack, or maybe even get some more video of the entire situation as it unfolded. Now, that hasn't happened yet. The city has yet to release that video, and here's why.
It's an ongoing investigation. I met with the investigators this morning. They are very, very good at their job. I need to respect their wishes as they continue this investigation. And at that time, their wishes were, we need to hold back this video. We're still investigating.
Now, this situation came up because we understand people's frustration on not being able to show everything that happened that night. It's because we're still waiting on the city to release that video. Now, Chief Fiji did say the video, including some police body-worn camera footage, will probably be released next week. Now, she did continue to stress that this is an ongoing investigation and more charges and arrests are forthcoming. We asked if some of the individuals who were identified as victims will also be charged, but we did not get a clear answer to that question. Today, the Chief Fiji calling on a committee to end what she's calling a revolving door of justice. I asked the chief and the mayor if judges are going to be part of that group.
This really just came to fruition a couple of hours ago. But the idea, when I was talking to the executive board member, was absolutely to include municipal judges, common pleas judges, juvenile judges.
As we continue to collaborate on strengthening our justice system, the judges have been at the table with the chief, with the city manager, and myself to make sure that we're working collaboratively.
Now, Mayor Pureval did say that Cincinnati cannot get to where it wants to be without people feeling safe. So I made sure to ask him, if you are going downtown this weekend, say to dinner or just going out with friends, what should they expect? And he said you can expect a lot of police to be out there, whether they're going to be on foot, bike, or Segway. Make sure that you will know that there will be a large police presence to ensure that people are starting to feel safe. Reporting live tonight, Danielle Dindak, WLWT News 5.
And Danielle, thanks so much. And we did hear from the police chief about the release of that video and also what came from this press conference. We learned that 6 people have been charged with felonious assault and aggravated rioting. And the police chief also saying 3 other names will be released upon capture. She is suspecting that those mugshots will be released as well when those people are captured and arrested sometime early next week. We also heard during this press conference from Pastor Damon Lynch, who says that this is national news because it's been racialized. Those were his words. He says until we see all of the mugshots, this will be a racial issue because it doesn't show the full picture. Now, I did ask Police Chief Terry Fiji about the release of that video, and you heard part of her saying what Danielle just released about why that video has not been released. Here's more on what she had to say about the release of the first half of that video and what happened downtown.
Probably early next week, I will be releasing additional footage, including body-worn camera. That tells a little bit more of the story, but right now, I need to let the investigators continue to do their job. If I release too much too soon, even though there's a very strong appetite for it, I jeopardize the integrity of the investigation, and that would not be good for anybody involved.